let's take a look at Fist of Antiquity Golurk. Welcome back everyone to more from the Sable Eyes. I'm Mitch and today we're going to take a look at Fist of Antiquity Golurk. This is a card that came out in Cosmic Eclipse but hasn't seen any play. Now we can get it going because of Twin Energy. We'll see if we can get ourselves a solid list that can win a game on the ladder. Something that you might be able to take on, have a bit of fun, see how you go. But before we do that, if you haven't already clicked subscribe, please do so. Only about 35% of people who watch our content are subscribed. It is free and you can always unsubscribe at any time if you'd like, so there's no problem with that. Without further ado, we will take a look at the list. So Fist of Antiquity is a pretty strong attack for a DCE. It does 160 damage. Pretty solid. It's a psychic type, so that's going to one-shot a Mewtwo and Mew, but the issue is that we do need to make sure that we don't have any supporter cards in the discard pile, because if we do, then this attack does nothing. So in order to make sure that we don't have discard supporters, then we're just not going to play any supporters. So the list that we've got has absolutely zero supporters in it. Instead, we have an engine that's built around Jirachis, Dedennes, and a 2-3 line of Zebstrika. It's kind of an awkward one, but the 2-3 line of Zebstrika is what we've got. Sprint is going to be our main way of drawing cards. This way we can have 1 or 2 Zebstrika out at any one time, whilst using Ditto in order to maybe get a third one in the mid to late game. But most of the time we want to be getting our Golurks out, so we've got a 4-4 line of those. Apart from that, there's no extra attackers in this list. There's no contingency plans for if things go wrong. It is simply consistency to try and draw as many cards as possible to get our Fist of Antiquity attack off. When it comes to more consistency cards, we obviously need some. We've got Acro Bike floating around, as well as 4 copies of Custom Catcher. We don't have any boss's orders. That's a supporter, so if we were to gust something up, we wouldn't be able to attack. So we need to make sure that if we want to gust, we can do it with Custom Catcher, and it also acts as some pseudo draw as well, allowing us to draw some extra cards. So always happy to do that. The rest of the list is built around getting those Pokemon out. I mean, we've got 4 Quick Ball, which is great. We've got 4 Pokemon Communication, which is also really good to find those evolution pieces. There's 4 Mysterious Treasure in this list as well, so those Golurks shouldn't be too hard to get out. And we also have 2 Evo Incense. We really could swap that around and have 4 Evo Incense and 2 Treasure, but it is important to get your Goletts out as quickly as possible. So we want to make sure that we've got the best chance to get into our basics, which is why we've got the 4 Mysterious Treasure over the Evo Incense. We also have Ordinary Rod to put our Pokemon back. We need to make sure that we can get to an extra Golurk. We need to get into an extra Golurk at some point to be attacking. I'd like to see an extra Ordinary Rod in this list if we could, but space is, space is space, so it is what it is. And then, of course, we've got the Switch and Escape Board package to go with our Jirachis. Crushing Hammer can also help slow our opponents down. The only energy that we're going to be playing is, of course, the new Twin Energy, which is obviously a very, very strong card, and triple acceleration energy from Unbroken Bonds as well. Both of those will power up our Golurk. We just need to make sure that we get into one of those 8 energy at the right time so that we can hit for 160. Now that number is super strong because it's going to be 2-shotting pretty much everything in the format. There's not a lot of things that are going to be able to withstand that, so hopefully we can get ourselves onto the ladder and win a solid game with Fist of Antiquity. So onto the ladder we go. We'll see if we can get ourselves a bit of a game here. Thank you yet again to Sable Eye member Sam for putting forward his time for this particular game. I'm not sure how this one's going to go. I've not seen any of this stuff, so hopefully it shows off exactly how this deck works. We've got a little bit of pixelation down the bottom there, but that's okay. We'll be able to figure it out as we go along. We've got Golett in the active. There's a Ditto as well, so it looks like we've got some things to work with. We've got Acro Bike and a Custom Catcher as well, so as long as we can play down a few of these cards, it looks like we should be fine. We are going to need to try and find Zebstrika as quickly as possible. The sooner we get that into play, the easier we're going to be. Now, our opponent has started Dedenne, which is really good. It means that next turn, if they can't get this Dedenne out of the active, we're actually going to get ourselves a free 2 prizes. Obviously, Dedenne has 160 HP, so we should be able to knock that out, but you would think that our opponent would be able to get out of the active at some point. Still not entirely sure what we're playing against here. Double quick ball going into the discard. Jirachi is also on the bench as well. So looks like we're actually going up against Dragapult V here. Okay, so maybe the Ditto is not the best choice here. We probably don't want to put that one down because the Dragapult V Max next turn will be able to snipe 5 damage counters to knock out that Ditto. So we probably don't want to have that. It might be worth here using Pokemon Communication to try and find a different basic. We actually top decked another Pokecom here, so that's very interesting. We've got Golett here, which is pretty good. I mean, we can play that one down. It's a shame we had to get rid of the Evo Incense, but we definitely do need Goletts coming down, and we'll grab a Blitzle as well off of the Pokemon Communication. Now, there's a part of me here that says maybe don't get rid of this Golurk because you don't necessarily have to, but Sam here choosing instead to just go straight in for the Dedenne. We could realistically have sat on this hand and then gone for the Zebstrika next turn, which would have been more than acceptable. We've got the energy and the Golurk, but that's okay. And we've actually drawn into a Crushing Hammer here. If we hit heads, that's really, really big. Okay, so that's huge news. We've got another Golurk here. Sam opting not to bench it, and fair enough. It means that they're not going to be putting extra damage counters on or doing something that is kind of ridiculous and out of the blue. So we've managed to survive here, and we've got ourselves a custom catcher for draw if we need it, or we can potentially use it in combination with a second custom catcher if we get there to gust something up. But more importantly, we've got Golurk and we've got the triple acceleration energy. So next turn, it's looking like we're going to be able to get those down. Our opponent here attaching to the Dragapult here, and they're going to put a giant bomb onto this Dragapult and then use Professor's Research. Now, that giant bomb will only activate if we deal over 180 damage, which we're not going to do. We're just going to do 160, so we don't really mind that that's there. They're shredding for 60, which, again, isn't a massive problem, although it is annoying because Golurk has 140 HP. If we can keep them fresh, then that would be preferable. Alright, looks like we're going to need to make a choice here about what we're going to do. I think it is correct to evolve the active and attack with it this turn. Then you won't lose so much for the triple acceleration energy getting discarded. It's not the end of the world. I think the plays here probably going to be to play down this Golurk, play down the Golett in our hand, the energy as well. Then we can quick ball away the Ordinary Rod, grab another Pokemon, and then maybe custom catcher for 3. Or if we'd like, we can use another Dedenne. That could potentially be the way to go here. The best thing is, we've actually got all the cards that we need, so it's not a problem. Sam here actually going instead for the discarding of the Golett means that he can play the Ordinary Rod here, and it's not the end of the world. Also, grabbing a Jirachi is really good too. It means that we'll be able to find a supporter next turn. So, happy, or not a supporter, sorry, we'll be able to find an Evo Incense or something like that next turn. That's a very interesting hand to have. I don't really like benching the second Jirachi, but I do like taking a half hit on this Dragapult, so let's do that. They are going to be able to get themselves a knockout pretty easily, but if we're able, off of this Jirachi, to potentially find ourselves something like a Evolution Incense or a Pokecom, then we could potentially get our Zebstrika into play, which would be really good. There's a part of me that's kind of like, oh, if we had to place the second Jirachi down, then even if they do get like the double Zigzagoon play, which actually our opponent's going for now, if they do get the double Zigzagoon play, we don't need to worry about it. But they're actually targeting down the Blitzle, and fair enough too, because that's actually probably the most important thing that they could be going for. Now we're likely to have to get a... Oh, actually, they're going for Mani here, so they might not be able to get it. I thought they were doing it because they had it guaranteed. We've actually just been manied into 2 Golurks here and a Switch. Okay, so we can put this Jirachi in the active with no fear. And our opponent needs to choose where are these damage counters going to go. We're going to put them all on the Blitzle. So this means if we evolve into Zebstrika next turn, then we could potentially be safe. Although, to be fair, I think Zebstrika has 110 HP. So that's not ideal. We find a Dedenne off of the top deck as well. That's actually pretty solid. We can use Acro Bike. We probably want to find a Golett, to be fair. We don't need this treasure. We definitely need another Golett. So that is all that we realistically want to put down. We can play that one into the field. We can Stellar Wish here. There's a couple of decent cards here. We've got Switch, but we've already got that in hand. You might realistically look at the Quick Ball, maybe, but the Crushing Hammer doesn't seem bad. It's kind of an awkward situation. If you're Crushing Hammer, you could potentially get rid of the, if you get the 50-50 head flip, obviously, you could get rid of the Horror Psychic Energy, but it looks like Sam just going for the Quick Ball, and we'll grab ourselves the Ditto here. Maybe even the Jirachi might not be bad. I don't think we're going to play this down. I think we're going to Dedenne it away, because we do need the energy to take this knockout. So there's the Dedenne into play. We get rid of the Ditto, it's not required, and we actually find ourselves Zebstrika here as well, so we could potentially draw some more cards if we wanted to. I think what we'll probably end up doing, it looks like he's just going to go for Fist of Antiquity, and fair enough, we could have potentially drawn through some more cards, but I don't mind just taking the knockout here. We've got pretty much everything that we need. That switch is really big. So hopefully we can hold on to this hand and our opponent doesn't use money again, but the best thing for us in reality is the fact that our opponent has nothing set up. They don't have another Dragapult on the bench, so the most damage they're going to be able to deal this turn is 30, so we've got another turn to organize ourselves here, and as long as we remain a tiny little bit lucky, we could potentially steal a win against one of the top decks in the format at the moment. Looks like they're going for a Mysterious Treasure here for their second Dragapult, but like I said, they're only going to be able to deal 30 damage if they do choose to attack with it. You'd think that that's unlikely. They are going for Marnie here, so we are going to have to hope that we find an energy off of that Marnie. We do find one, and we found another Pokecom as well. So this turn, what we could do is we could go, okay, Twin Energy to the active, take a knockout or a half hit on whatever our opponent puts forward. They're actually going for the bite here, so this is perfect because they're going to evolve into the VMAX, you would think. So we'll attach the Twin Energy up there. I'm thinking the Pokecom can grab ourselves a second Golurk, Golurk, just in case things go wrong. It's actually our last one in the deck. We've already used our rods, so that could be a little bit awkward. We're going to play that one down, and then I think it's Zebstrika time. We have to get rid of these two cards. Mill them out of our hand. We don't need them. The thing that we need next turn is energy. So we've got the Triple XL. We probably play the Acro Bike here. I don't know whether you're going to Mysterious Treasure for anything of value. I think we're in the position now where we're going to kind of just need to get cards as quickly as possible. Looks like Sam's going for that Mysterious Treasure, and then we will play the Acro Bike. Grabbing the Twin Energy doesn't seem bad. It means that we could potentially play that down onto the Golurk next turn, but the Triple Acceleration Energy would have done the job as well. So it's an awkward one here. If our opponent does evolve into the VMAX and attach, then even if they knock out both of our Golurk and our Zebstrika, then we are going to be perfectly fine. The big problem here is going to be if they gust out the Golurk on the bench and then manage to take a knockout on both of our Golurks. Now, that isn't impossible for them to do, but it is definitely quite frustrating for us. If they were to be able to do that, then we would probably find ourselves in a position where we're going to lose the game because we don't have another Golurk left. But they aren't going to be doing that just yet. They're going to go for the research here. They will be dealing 30 more damage to our Golurk in the active, so that's going to be quite frustrating. The extra 20 on top of that will be frustrating for us to deal with. We can put down the Twin Energy here, and I feel like we probably just need to Zebstrika again. We need to find some of those Gust cards, but Sam just going for the Fist of Antiquity. Fair enough. All we need to do is take those knockouts, and now we're looking for one more potential knockout to win this game. The trouble here is going to be that our opponent has plenty of opportunity to attack with this Dragapult VMAX. If they ever take two knockouts on those two Golurks, we are going to lose the game. So we need to attack twice before he can, and that's the most important thing. We need to attack twice before our opponent is able to. Now, grabbing the Marnie here off of the Stellar Wish. Marnie might actually work for us because we could potentially find ourselves looking at a couple of extra cards here, which could find a Gust, which would be great. That 10 damage is really frustrating for us. They're putting down a Giant Bomb. Again, doesn't matter. We're not worried about that. But yeah, no, the Marnie, that's really big. Okay, so we've got ourselves a turn to try and find Gust or to potentially get an attack off here, but they are about to take a knockout. Those two Crushing Hammers, though, could be really big. What we could do is we could double Crushing Hammer here. If we hit one or two, if we hit one of them, we could potentially have a chance. If we hit both of them, I think we just win the game. And we've got Escape Board as well. So what we could do is we can flip the hammers twice, put the Escape Board down, and then go from there. They've got rid of our Zebstrika, which is annoying. So yeah, I feel like now our only chance to win this game really is going to be hitting this, hitting 2 heads on Crushing Hammer. If we do manage to do it, then that would be great. We'll definitely win the game because we'd half hit into this Dragapult. But at this stage, I think that's literally the best that we can hope for. We just have to try and hit heads twice. So let's go for it. We've hit heads once, so that's solid. We need the 75% chance to come up. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess that's to be expected, 50-50. We can get a quick ball here, I suppose, but what would we be looking for? I guess we could grab another Jirachi and go again. We've got the Escape Board and a Switch, so we could discard one of those switches to try and find another Jirachi, but I guess, well, there's one hammer left. Okay, so we could potentially find this hammer and flip heads, and if we do that, we get ourselves a chance. The disappointing thing is we won't be able to get into those 2 custom catches now, but, you know, that's okay. We'll switch into the new Jirachi and Stellar Wish. There's a custom catcher. Okay, so we're going to be able to attach the Escape Board. We'll draw 3 more cards. Now we can't gust, but we could find the hammer. We found the hammer. Are we able to flip heads? Oh my goodness, we've flipped heads. I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win now. The fact that we flipped heads on that is a really, really big deal, because now they are not going to be able to attack us for 130 damage next turn. And with half hit their active, it means that pretty much nothing that they put forward here is going to be able to survive an attack from Fist of Antiquity. So, I mean, we've gotten a bit lucky with the 2 out of 3 coin flips. They've actually got the Giratina to remove our Twin Energy here, so now they're relying on getting rid of our energy. Little do they know that we actually have the triple acceleration in hand, so that is a-okay. They've gone for the shred. We've got the knockout here. Unbelievably, the coin flips have saved us, and Fist of Antiquity will take a knockout on a Dragapult VMAX, and we'll win the game. How about that? Unbelievable stuff. So, meme decks can sometimes win. They need to get a little bit lucky. Coin flips are a part of the game, so unfortunately, whether you like it or not, that's a fair and square victory. Henry, I'm talking to you, mate. Henry doesn't like Crushing Hammers. Why would you not like them? We just flipped heads and won the game. So, perfect stuff there from Golurk, managing to take down Dragapult, which is a very impressive victory. One of those decks that is floating around at the top of the ladder at the moment. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming along and checking out this particular deck profile. We really appreciate your company. It's always good to see you along. If you're new, thank you very much for coming. If you'd like to subscribe, then click the button that's just over here. That would be great. Very much appreciated. Over here, there's a couple of videos that YouTube thinks you'll like, as well as down the bottom a playlist for more of our Rebel Clash gameplay. That would be excellent to check out too. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at @thesableeyes_YT. And hey, apart from that, that's all we've got for you. Thanks very much for coming along. We'll see you all next time for more from the Sable Eyes.